Welcome back to the Top 1% Book Club. You know, how we always say we like to take those really insightful books and break them down into advice you can actually use.
Yeah, making it practical, right? That's the whole point.
Exactly. We want to cut through all the fluff. And today, well, we're going way back in time to ancient Babylon, a city that was like the center of wealth and wisdom.
Oh, yeah, Babylon. I mean, just the name conjures up images of, like, riches and extravagance.
Right. And we're diving into this classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon. But here's the thing. It's not just some dusty old tale. It's shockingly relevant to our lives today, like even how we handle money now.
You know, what I find fascinating is how the book uses stories and parables. It's not like a dry textbook, It's like you're sitting down with these wise Babylonian sages.
Totally. And they're giving us personal finance advice. And honestly, one of the biggest things that stuck with me was this idea of paying yourself first.
Ah, yeah, classic advice, right? It seems so simple, but
But it's powerful.
yeah, totally. The book basically says before you do anything else, set aside at least 10% of what you earn. Like before bills, before fun stuff, anything.
Okay, that makes sense in theory. But like, life happens, right? You have unexpected bills, and it's easy to dip into savings. So how do you actually make it work?
I think it's all about changing your mindset. Like instead of thinking of saving as this extra thing you do if you have money left over, it's got to be a non-negotiable expense. Like your rent or your food.
Okay, so you're saying make it so like an automatic thing, like it's just part of the budget from the start.
Exactly. And that reminds me, one of the sources we looked at, the Swedish investor, he made this really interesting point. It's kind of like every expense we have, it's almost like working as a slave for someone
I
else.
remember that. You guys, we're basically spending our time and energy to earn money for our landlords, our utility companies, those subscription services we never use.
Yeah, a bit of a harsh way to put it. But it does make you think how much of your life is going towards paying for things that maybe don't even make you happy.
Whoa. Yeah, that really puts things in perspective. And that whole keeping up with the Joneses thing too, right? Always got to have the newest gadgets. The Swedish investor talked about that too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we live in this world of instant gratification. Everyone's comparing themselves to everyone else online. It's hard not to get caught up in that. Always got to have the latest phone, the latest clothes.
Right. And the book is saying that's exactly how you stay broke.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much money you make,
Yeah.
if you spend it all on stuff you don't need, you'll never actually get ahead.
And it's not about, never buying anything nice or living like a monk. It's about being intentional, really thinking about your spending, making sure it aligns with what you actually value.
So it's like knowing the difference between what you need versus what you want
Yeah.
and making sure those wants, those don't take over.
That's it. And you know what can help with that? Budgeting. People hear budget and think, ugh, restrictions. But it's actually about gaining control, getting clarity about where your money is going.
So, okay, we've got pay yourself first. We've got controlling our spending. Now, what about the money we've saved? This is where the richest man in Babylon gets interesting. It talks about making your gold multiply.
Yes, saving is only the first step. The book uses this amazing image of gold slaves working tirelessly to generate more gold for their master.
Yep.
It's not just about sitting on a pile of money. You got to make it work for you.
I love that image. But how do we translate that today? It's not like we have actual gold slaves running around.
Well, think of it like this. Your savings. That's your initial investment. It's the seed that you plant. But for that seed to grow, it needs the right conditions, right? You need to
Um,
invest it wisely so it can multiply.
okay, but that's where things get kind of scary. I mean, there are so many ways to invest these days. Stocks, bonds, real estate, crypto. It's overwhelming. How do you even know where to start?
It's true, there are so many options. And that's where it's so important to get good advice. That's what we learned from the index funds video too, right?
Oh yeah, they told that story about Arcad and the brickmaker. Remember, Arcad lost all his savings because he got bad advice. The guy he listened to wasn't even an expert in that type of investment.
That's a good reminder. We can't just trust anyone when it comes to our money. It's like anything else, you got to do your research, find people who actually know what they're talking about, and understand the risks before you jump in.
Exactly. That's all part of guarding your treasures from loss, like the book says. It's not just about making money. It's about protecting what you've earned.
Exactly. So be cautious. Do your due diligence. Don't fall for those schemes that promise you'll get rich quick. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Speaking of making your gold multiply, one concept that always blows my mind is compound interest. It's like almost magical how it works.
It really is. That index funds video did such a good job of explaining it visually. It's like, imagine a snowball rolling down a hill. As it rolls, it picks up more snow and gets bigger and bigger. Compound interest is like that.
The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. So the earlier you start investing, the more time that snowball has to grow.
Exactly. It's almost like having this invisible team working for you, multiplying your wealth 24/7, even while you sleep.
Okay, so even if you can't invest a ton of money right now, the key is to start small and be consistent.
Exactly. The book really stresses that it's never too late to start building wealth. No matter where you're at right now, you can take steps today to secure your future.
It's kind of cool how The Richest Man in Babylon doesn't just talk about money, you know. It connects wealth to personal growth. Like it's saying, you got to manage yourself before you can manage your money.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
all about that continuous self-improvement thing, always getting better.
Right, like always leveling up your skills, always learning. That practical psychology video we watched really hit on this. Investing in your education, learning new skills, that kind of thing, it could make you more valuable, like in the job market and stuff.
Yeah. It makes sense, right? The more you know, the more you can do, the more opportunities come your way. And that can definitely lead to making more money.
So it's like, don't just make your money work harder. You got to make yourself work smarter too.
Exactly. And the book also talks about getting advice from people who are, further along than you, people who've already done what you're trying to do.
Yeah, like finding a good mentor
Mhm.
or a financial advisor, someone to help you navigate all the complicated stuff.
And it doesn't have to be super formal. Sometimes just talking to a friend who's really good with money can be helpful. Like in the Oulipo PDF, they talked about how valuable it can be to just bounce ideas off someone you trust.
Oh yeah, sometimes you just need a fresh perspective, someone to help you see things differently.
Yeah.
But you got to actually take the advice, right? Just getting it isn't enough.
Oh, for sure. We all know that person who asks for advice but then doesn't do anything with it. Remember the brickmaker story? The one from the index funds video?
Yeah, he ignored everyone and lost it all, right? Ouch.
Yeah. It's easy to think you know better, but sometimes you got to listen to the people who've been there before. But what I really liked about the book, it talks about how important it is to grab opportunities when they come up, fortune favors the bold and all that, but you got to be ready.
Opportunity is a haughty goddess who wastes no time with those who are unprepared. That's a great quote from the book.
Right. It's a call to action, like get ready, be prepared, so when the right moment comes along, you can jump on it. Don't hesitate.
That reminds me of the Read and Grow video.
Mm.
They said luck isn't just random. You got to put yourself in a position where you can actually take advantage of those lucky breaks when they show up.
Yeah, totally. It's not about sitting around waiting for good things to happen. It's about making your own luck, being proactive.
Okay, so we've got saving, being careful about spending, investing wisely. But the book doesn't stop there, does it?
Mm.
It talks about using your wealth for good, too.
Right. It's not just about accumulating money. It's about being generous, helping others, giving back to your community.
Being a good steward of what you have, sharing the wealth.
Exactly. I think the book is trying to say that money is a tool. It's not the end goal. It's about using that tool to live a good life and make the world a better place.
And speaking of living a good life, the book isn't saying you got to live like a pauper. It's about finding that balance.
Totally. You can be smart with your money and still enjoy yourself. It's about making choices that are in line with your values, making sure your spending matches your long-term goals.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot: saving, investing, personal growth, generosity. But there's something else in The Richest Man in Babylon I think we need to dig into.
Oh, what's that?
Mindset.
Mm.
The book really emphasizes how important your mindset is when it comes to building wealth. Like, what you believe about money really matters.
You're so right. It's not just about the technical stuff. You got to have the right mindset.
Like, you got to actually believe that you can be successful with money.
Think about Arcad. He didn't start out rich. He was a regular guy, a scribe, but he had this drive to improve his life. He believed he could do it, and that belief helped him become the richest man in Babylon.
Man, that's inspiring. That makes me think of the Men You Know More video where they talked about visualizing your success. Like, seeing yourself achieving your goals. It can actually help you make it happen.
Oh, I love that. It's about training your brain, focusing on what you want, not on what you don't have, getting rid of those negative thoughts and those limiting beliefs.
And it goes hand in hand with the positive self-talk stuff from the Read and Grow video. If you keep telling yourself you're bad with money, you're probably right. You're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. It's amazing how much our words impact our reality. We got to be mindful of the language we use. We got to stop focusing on what we don't have and start thinking about abundance, about all the possibilities.
So yeah, it's not just about managing your money. It's about managing your thoughts about money, shifting to a more positive and abundant mindset.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's about taking responsibility for your own financial well-being. You're in control, not the other way around. It's empowering.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh.
It's not just a finance book. It's almost like a guide to personal transformation.
Totally. It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts wealth and success. Like you're aligning your internal world with your external goals.
Okay, so that's the mindset piece. But what are some practical things people can do to, get into that wealth-building mindset?
Well, the book talks about setting clear financial goals, having a vision for your future, and knowing exactly what you're working towards.
Yeah, not just any goals, right? Goals that actually mean something to you. Goals that will get you fired up.
Exactly. And once you have those big goals, break them down into smaller, bite-sized
Yeah,
pieces.
makes it less scary, right?
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
trying to do everything at once. You're taking it step by step.
Exactly. And don't forget to celebrate those small wins. Each step gets you closer to your big goal, and those celebrations will help keep you motivated.
This reminds me of the Ulipo PDF where they talked about consistency. You got to keep showing up every single day. Even if it's just a small step, keep moving forward.
And build those good habits, like make it a habit to track your spending.
Yeah.
Create a budget and stick to it. Automate your savings.
Those little things, they might not seem like much at first, but over time they make a big difference.
Big time. It's like building a muscle. The more you work at it, the stronger you get. And the stronger your financial foundation becomes.
The Richest Man in Babylon really is full of wisdom.
Yeah.
Stuff that can help you build a better life. But it's not just about reading it, right? You got to do something with what you learn.
Yeah. Knowledge is only powerful if you use it. So what are some of the key things you think our listeners can take away from all this and start doing today?
Well, I think the biggest thing is start small. You don't have to overhaul your whole life right now. Just pick one thing, one little financial habit, and commit to doing it.
I love that. Just start somewhere. It could be setting aside $5 a day or tracking your spending for a week. Just do something.
And be consistent. Even those tiny steps, if you do them consistently, they'll add up. It's like that quote from the Read and Grow video, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step."
Oh, that's so good. And it's never too late to start, whether you're just starting out or you've been on this journey for a while. The Richest Man in Babylon has something for everyone. It's a roadmap to success.
Yeah. It's a reminder that we all have the power to change our financial future, starting today.
Such a powerful message.
You know, that whole gold slaves thing, I know we touched on it before, but it's such a vivid image from the book.
Yeah, it really gets you thinking about how to make your money work harder. But in today's world, how does that actually play out?
I mean, passive income is a big part of it, right? It's about setting things up so the money comes in even when you're not actively working.
Exactly. And there are tons of ways to do that. Investing in stocks that pay dividends, or building an online business. Stuff that generates income even when you're sleeping.
It's like those gold slaves are working behind the scenes, building your wealth. And this is where compound interest really shines.
Oh yeah, compound interest. That's like the ultimate gold slave. It's your money earning money. And then those earnings turning even more money.
The index funds video did a great job of showing this. Like if you start investing even small amounts consistently, over time, thanks to compounding, you can end up with way more than you put in.
It really is like planting a tiny seed and watching it grow into this huge tree. The key ingredients are patience and consistency. You can't rush it.
And speaking of things that grow, the book talks a lot about owning your own home. Like it sees that as a really important part of building a solid financial future.
Yeah, it's like having a strong roof over your head, literally and figuratively. It gives you stability, makes you feel secure.
And even though the housing market goes up and down over the long haul, owning a home has been a pretty good investment for a lot of people.
Of course, you got to be smart about it. Make sure you're financially ready before you jump into a mortgage. That's a big commitment.
Yeah, the book warns against taking on too much debt. Don't bite off more than you can chew, right?
Exactly. Be responsible. Make sure you can actually afford those monthly payments. That leads to another key point from the book. Being smart about debt in general.
Yeah, avoiding unnecessary debt and paying off what you owe as fast as you can.
There's even a suggestion to put 2/10 of your income towards debt repayment. It's like their version of the pay yourself first principle, but for getting rid of debt.
It's a solid strategy for getting that weight off your shoulders so you can have more control over your money. But even though the book is all about being responsible, It also talks about being generous.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It encourages you to use your wealth in a good way, to help those less fortunate, to
Yeah.
invest in your community.
It's a good reminder that money isn't just for personal gain. You can use it to make a positive impact.
To make a difference in the world, to leave a legacy.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the richest man in Babylon, I keep thinking about how timeless his wisdom is.
It really is. No matter where you are in life, you can pick up this book and find something valuable, something you can use.
Those principles of building wealth, they're universal. They work across time, across cultures. It's all about making smart choices, building good habits,
Yeah.
and cultivating that abundant mindset.
So to everyone listening, remember that the journey to financial freedom, it starts with just one step. Take the wisdom from the richest man in Babylon, apply it to your own life, and watch your financial future change for the better.
Exactly. And remember, we're here to support you every step of the way. Keep learning, keep growing, and never stop striving for your full potential.